Hi, I'm Chef Joseph Fleischman, Executive Chef, Emeritus Medical Center in Hagerstown, Maryland. We often get asked for healthy breakfast recipes, and something a little bit different. Everybody's had the standard Eggs Benedict, the standard frittata, etc. So today we're going to do a variation on an Eggs Benedict utilizing fresh squash, zucchini, and some poached eggs, along with some fresh beefsteak tomatoes. Eggs Italiano is the name of the recipe, so let's begin. The first thing we want to do is to poach our eggs. In this saute pan, over medium-high heat, we simply have, it's probably 3 to 4 cups of water, and we've added 2 tablespoons of distilled white vinegar. What that's going to do is going to keep our egg together when we poach it, and it won't separate. So, the easiest way to poach an egg is to have, obviously, your eggs in a small bowl. We're going to begin by cracking our egg into the bowl one at a time, being very careful not to break the yolk. We're going to discard our shell. Okay, so what we want to do is we have our water, it's up to a slow boil, a simmer, some may call it, and we're going to add our first egg, again, being careful not to break the yolk, and we're going to do the same thing for egg number 2. If you happen to break the yolk, simply use that egg for a scrambled egg and start all over again. So it's pretty easy once you get the hang of it. And again, we're going to drop that right in very slowly. Again, making sure not to break that yolk. And there we go. We're going to jostle them just a little bit in the pan so they don't stick to the bottom. When you add your egg to your pan, it's going to lose a little bit of heat. We're going to raise the heat ever so slightly. We don't want to boil. Again, we just want a very, very quick simmer, so to speak. Again, it's okay to sort of move your eggs around. You're going to have some pieces that may break off your eggs, like this, not a problem. Simply scoop it out and discard it. And if you start to get to a boil, you can simply adjust your heat. When your eggs are done, they're going to be a nice uniform oval shape. And they're going to be pretty much a uniform thickness all the way through until you get to where the yolk is in the center. It may be slightly larger, but pretty much from side to side, they're going to be very uniform in thickness and width. Okay, there we go. Our eggs are done. We're going to turn the heat off. We have a plate here. We're going to get our eggs out of our water and our white vinegar mixture. We're going to place them on the plate. And at home, you can pop them in the oven to keep them warm. There we go. There's your poached eggs. And when we come back, we'll begin our vegetable compote. We're going to begin by heating a saute pan over medium heat with about 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. To our pan, we're going to add about 3 ounces of yellow squash, the same amount, 3 ounces zucchini, and about 2 ounces of diced green pepper. The vegetables here certainly can be substituted with whatever you have, whatever you prefer to use. If you don't like squash and zucchini, you certainly don't have to use them. They seem to work very well in this recipe, however, so I would suggest probably giving it a try the first time, and then you can modify it from there. We're also going to add about 2 ounces of chopped yellow onion. If you don't like yellow onion, you can certainly use red onion, would be just fine. And we're going to keep sauteing this again over medium heat until our vegetables begin to become soft, our onions become translucent. Usually takes about 2 minutes. This is a good dish, especially for a weekend when you have a little more time. During the week, it's kind of a complicated dish to make when you have some time constraints. On the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, it's a wonderful dish if you're doing a Sunday brunch for some guests. It's something a little bit different people haven't seen all the time. Poached eggs are wonderful. Eggs in general are wonderful. They're very high in protein. They are great for you. Nice fresh vegetables. Certainly are. You don't want to overcook your vegetables. You want to get a little bit of color on them, and again, until they become opaque, but you don't want to overcook them. We don't want a mushy vegetable. Okay. We're going to add a little bit of garlic. Again, this is Eggs Italiano, so we need to begin the Italiano portion, so to speak. Okay, there we go. Garlic smells great. We do not want to burn our garlic. We want to saute it for about 20 seconds until it just begins to become opaque. To that, we're going to add a little bit of oregano and let that open up just a little bit till those essential oils begin to release and we can start to smell it. Usually takes all 30 to 45 seconds. Okay, this is doing great. Colors are wonderful. The smells are fabulous. And we're going to add some fresh chopped beefsteak tomato. These are fresh out of the garden. We want to add, maybe a cup and a half. If you don't like tomato, you certainly don't have to add them. If it's in the middle of the winter and you don't have any fresh tomatoes and you wanted to use a can of some nice plum tomatoes, that would be just fine as well. We're going to continue to cook this until our tomatoes begin to cook down and they start to exude some of their liquid. Make us a nice sauce. It's going to take about 2 minutes. Again, we're over medium-high heat. We want to add our herbs at the very end. A good rule of thumb in general is if you're going to use dried herbs, add them in the beginning. If you're going to use fresh herbs, put them in the end. I did put the oregano in a little bit earlier than I'm going to put in my basil simply because I personally like oregano to be in there to flavor some of this tomato before I put the basil in. So, our tomatoes are beginning to cook down. This looks great. We're going to add just a little bit of salt and pepper. You don't need very much. Our vegetables are beginning to get translucent. The tomatoes are cooking. We're going to go ahead and add our chiffonade basil, which basically means we just took some basil leaves, rolled them up, cut them very thin with our knife. We're going to add them. Again, how much you add is completely up to you. Basil is a nice pungent herb, but it's not really strong. So a little bit's nice. A lot is even better in my opinion. We're going to go ahead and add some fresh chopped parsley. And we're going to continue to stir. Okay. Our vegetables are done. This looks great. We're going to go ahead and turn off our heat. And to this, we're going to add just a little bit of balsamic vinegar. Give it just a nice acidic flavor and a little bit, again, of that Italian twist. We're going to get our eggs, which we have, again, poached a little while ago. And we've kept them warm. We're going to put them out on our sandwich rounds. There we go. We're going to go ahead and take our topping. This just looks wonderful, and we're going to add it to each of our poached eggs. If you like spinach, spinach goes great in this. You don't need a whole lot of topping. We have a little bit of sauce we're going to add. Okay, there we go. And last but not least, we're going to tend our plate a little bit, and we're going to add a little bit of fresh grated Parmesan cheese and just a little bit more of our fresh basil chiffonade. And there you have it.